The hospital reeked of disinfectant, a bitter tang that stung my nostrils as I lay there in a thin paper gown. My head throbbed, an unsteady drumbeat echoing inside my skull. My arm, hooked to and fore, felt foreign, like it belonged to someone else. I fixed my eyes on the ceiling tiles, counting their tiny holes to stop myself from breaking down. How had everything gone so wrong? Only hours earlier, I'd been laughing, glasses clinking, my husband's arm around my waist. Now I was alone, my phone dead, my wedding band glinting coldly under the harsh fluorescent lights. And James was gone. Not just absent, gone, like he'd evaporated, leaving nothing but questions that burned hotter than the ache in my skull. It had started at a bar called the Rusty Anchor, a dim little place where smoke hung low and the jukebox crooned old Springsteen. James had pushed for it. He'd been so alive that evening, the boyish spark I'd fallen for all those years ago shining in his hazel eyes. "Come on, Lena," he'd said, catching the light from our kitchen chandelier. "Let's do something different tonight." I'd hesitated. Our daughter, Mia, was with my mom, and I'd been planning a quiet evening with takeout and a show. But James's smile was contagious, and eventually I gave in, slipping into a red dress I hadn't worn since before Mia was born. The bar was crowded, bodies pressed close, the noise a mix of chatter and clinking glass. James guided me to a corner booth, his hand warm at the small of my back. That's when I saw them. Two strangers sat at the bar, a man with a hard-edged jaw and a worn leather jacket, a woman with a cascade of dark hair and an emerald blouse that shimmered beneath neon lights. They weren't from here. I'd grown up in this coastal town. Their laughter was too loud, their eyes too watchful. "You all right?" James's voice cut in. He already had a second whiskey in hand, his cheeks flushed. I nodded, though something about the strangers knotted my stomach. The woman's gaze lingered on James just a second too long. I told myself I was imagining it. After a decade together, I trusted him. Didn't I? The night blurred. More drinks. James's hand on my thigh. The strangers circling closer through the crowd. Eventually they joined us. The man introduced himself as Ethan, his voice rough but smooth, like gravel rolled in water. The woman, Claire, smiled wide, her teeth too perfect, too sharp. They claimed they were road-tripping from Boston to Miami. Chasing freedom, Claire purred, her fingers brushing James's wrist as she reached for her drink. My stomach tightened, but James laughed it off, easy and unbothered. Why wasn't he uneasy? Hours passed in a haze of neon and heat. My head spun from too much wine. Ethan suggested a nightcap at the motel, a run-down place off Route 1, with a flickering vacancy sign. "It's got character," he smirked. I wanted to say no, to pull James home, but he was already nodding, arms slung around my shoulders. "Live a little, Lena," he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. I swallowed my misgivings, blaming it on the alcohol, the late hour. The motel smelled of mildew masked by cheap air freshener. Stained carpet under a single buzzing lamp. Claire poured vodka into plastic cups, her movements precise, practiced. Ethan lounged on the bed, boots still on, his eyes following me like he could read my skin. James sat too close to Claire, their knees touching as she handed him a drink. My heart hammered a warning I ignored. It was just a night out, I told myself. Just fun. Then Claire leaned in, whispered in James's ear, and his laugh was too loud, too intimate. My vision blurred, not just from the vodka. I stood, unsteady, and said I needed air. Ethan followed, looming as I leaned against the peeling motel wall. The salt-heavy breeze did little to clear my head. "You don't seem to be enjoying yourself," he said softly, almost mocking. I tried to shrug, but my tongue felt heavy. Something was wrong. The world tilted. When I woke, I was in the ER. A nurse adjusted my four, her face tight with concern. "You're lucky," she said. "Your blood alcohol level was extremely high. And there was something else, some kind of sedative." Sedative. The word sliced through the fog. I hadn't taken anything. My purse was gone. My phone dead. And James wasn't there. Hands shaking. I called my mother from the hospital phone. Mia was safe, still asleep at her house. But James hadn't come home. His cell went straight to voicemail. Panic clawed at my chest. Had something happened to him? Or, no, I couldn't think it. Not yet. Discharged, I took a cab home. The house was dark, stale. James's keys weren't on the hook. His jacket was missing. I checked our bedroom. His dresser drawers were empty. Clothes, watch, the leather wallet I'd given him for our anniversary. All gone. On the kitchen counter, a note in his handwriting. I'm sorry, Lena. I can't do this anymore. My knees buckled. The cold linoleum against my palms steadied nothing. Can't do this anymore. What did that mean? We'd had arguments, money, Mia's tantrums, the slow grind routine, but nothing like this. I replayed the night. Claire's hand on his wrist. His laugh. The way he'd brushed off my unease. Had he known them? Was it all planned? I drove to the motel, knuckles white on the steering wheel. The vacancy sign still flickered, but the room was empty. Bed unmade. A single plastic cup on the nightstand. The teenage clerk said they'd checked out at dawn. No names. Just cash and a fake ID. Back home, I searched for answers. Bank statements showed withdrawals I hadn't noticed. Hundreds, then thousands over months. His laptop, left behind, held emails to an unknown account. Messages about new starts. Clean breaks. Had he been planning to leave me? With her? With them? I called his brother, his friends, his boss. No one knew, or claimed not to. His boss mentioned James had been distracted, missing meetings, leaving early. I wanted to scream, to ask why no one told me. Instead, I sat among Mia's toys and cried until my throat was raw. Weeks passed. The police found nothing. No James. No Ethan. No Claire. My mind spun. Was it a con? Was James in love with her? Did he let it happen? Mia's questions cut deeper each day. When's Daddy coming home? Then, a month later, on a rainy Tuesday, a package arrived. No return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note. You deserve to know. Hands trembling, I plugged it into my laptop. Grainy video appeared. James in a motel room like the one we'd been in with Claire. Their laughter, their touches. The way he looked at her like he'd never looked at me. The timestamp was 6 months old. 6 months. He'd been lying for half a year. Maybe longer. The video ended, but the note's words burned. You deserve to know. Know what? That my husband was a stranger? That my trust had been a fool's? I wanted to hate him. But love still clung, stubborn and raw. I wanted to find him, demand answers. But all I had was an empty house and a daughter who didn't understand. I still don't know why he left. Was it Claire? Was it me? The ER report said the sedative was mild, probably from a spike drink. Did James know? Did he let it happen? The questions haunt me still, heavier than the sting of antiseptic, sharp in the moment I found his note. All I'm left with are fragments, a laugh, a glance, a life unraveled, and the unbearable truth that I may never know.